All right, let's talk about Gmail. We're diving into some huge changes that are happening on one of the biggest email platforms in the world. We've got a pretty big AI controversy to unpack, plus some brand new, really strict rules for anyone who sends emails. Trust me, what's going on in your inbox right now is a bigger deal than you might think.
And when I say big, I mean it's just massive. We're talking about over 1.8 billion users. So you got to understand, any little tweak Google makes to Gmail isn't just a ripple, it's a tidal wave that hits a massive chunk of the entire planet.
And boy, that wave hit hard with headlines just like this one, causing all sorts of confusion and, frankly, a bit of panic online. The big claim? That Google's AI, Gemini, has been secretly digging through your private emails. So let's get into it.
First things first, let's break down the accusation itself. What are people actually claiming? And what is this tech that's at the center of the whole firestorm?
So the real heart of the issue is this. Millions of people logged in and suddenly found these powerful AI features were turned on in their accounts. Now, the problem wasn't really the features themselves. It was the feeling that it all happened without any clear heads up, without them choosing to opt in. It felt like a switch was flipped for them, not by them.
And this is where it gets really interesting. We're not just talking about your basic spam filter here. The allegation is that this AI is analyzing the actual content of your private messages to learn how you write, for things like Smart Compose. And that data, it doesn't just stay in Gmail. It's plugged into the entire Google ecosystem. But here's the real kicker. Some of that anonymized data can be reviewed by actual humans and kept for up to 3 years.
And look, this isn't just a bunch of angry tweets. It has escalated all the way up to the legal system. There's a proposed class action lawsuit claiming that by turning these features on by default, Google might have actually violated California's really tough privacy laws. So yeah, this has become a very big deal.
Okay, but there are always two sides to a story, right? So now let's flip it and take a look at Google's response to these pretty serious allegations. And this slide just lays it out plain and simple. On one side, you have the claim that Google is using your private emails to train its Gemini AI and that it's secretly turned on these settings. But on the other side, Google's official line is that these reports are misleading and they state very clearly, we have not changed anyone's settings. So, the most important point from Google is this flat-out denial. A spokesperson went on the record and said point blank that your Gmail content is not being used to train their Gemini AI model. That directly contradicts the fear that's been spreading. They argue that these smart features have been around for years and they operate exactly as described in their privacy policy.
But you know what? This whole story is actually way bigger than just one AI controversy. While that debate was grabbing all the headlines, Google was also rolling out another massive change, one that totally rewrites the rules for anyone who sends email. Let's look at the bigger picture here.
Yep, at the exact same time all this AI drama was unfolding, Google was shifting gears and getting super serious about enforcing a tough new set of rules for email senders, especially bulk senders. This is a huge move, and it's all about trying to clean up our inboxes and fight off spam and phishing attacks.
Okay, so these new rules basically boil down to three main things. First, authentication. Senders now need these technical things called SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. Just think of them as like a digital passport and signature that proves an email is legit. Second, infrastructure. All connections have to be secure. And third, user experience. They have to give you a simple one-click way to unsubscribe. And this is the real game changer. Senders now have to keep their spam complaint rate, that's the number of people who actually click report spam on their emails, below 0.3%. That is an incredibly high bar, and if a sender goes over it, Gmail can just start blocking their emails completely. Period. Now, all these new rules show Google is tightening the screws on security, but it also brings up some older questions about privacy and control. To really get what groups like the Electronic Frontier Foundation, or EFF, have been saying for years about other Gmail features, you first have to understand this concept: information rights management. The easiest way to think about it is it's basically DRM, but for your email. The EFF has been ringing the alarm about Gmail's confidential mode for a long time, saying it's misleading. And here's why. It is not end-to-end encrypted. That means Google can still read the messages. Think of it like this. A truly private message is scrambled so only you and the other person have the key. With this, Google also has a key. It's like they're a third person in your confidential chat. And on top of that, These so-called expiring emails, they don't actually get deleted from Google's servers, and the whole thing can be beaten with a simple screenshot.
So with all these changes and debates swirling around, the most important question is, what can you actually do about it? Let's walk through the concrete steps you can take to manage your own inbox and your own data.
Look, it doesn't even matter which side of the AI debate you fall on. Taking a minute to just go through your settings is always a good idea. This isn't about being paranoid, it's just about good, proactive digital hygiene. It's just smart.
All right, so if you want to opt out of these smart features, listen up, because it's a little tricky. First, you go into your Gmail settings, under the General tab, and you uncheck that main Smart Features box. But you're not done. You then have to click on Manage Workspace Smart Features Settings, which takes you to a different page where you have to turn off 2 more toggles. And you have to save your changes in both places to make sure it actually sticks.
And hey, if you're someone who sends emails for a business or a newsletter or anything like that, your checklist is just as critical. You absolutely have to get SPF, DKIM, and DMARC set up. And most importantly, you need to sign up for Google's free Postmaster tools. It's the only way you can keep an eye on that all-important spam complaint rate. Without it, you're basically flying blind.
And that brings us to the final and maybe most important question. As AI gets baked into every single tool we use, from our inboxes to our search engines, where does the responsibility for protecting our privacy actually lie? Is it on the tech giants to be more transparent, or is it on us, the users, to be more vigilant? That's a question we're all going to be wrestling with for a long time.